Hi guys, Sam here. In today's training, I'm going to talk about pricing your outcome. Now, what does that mean? It means how do you come to conclude a price that you need to be offering your services for? I'm specifically going to talk about the service-based industry rather than a products. So let's talk about understanding what outcomes we are helping our clients achieve and what are the consequences of that, of how much value you create in their journey. And as a consequence, you can charge the right amount. Now, there's a workbook that goes with this specific training. If you haven't got a copy, type in the word workbook below and I'll make sure you get that copy. Let's start by first understanding the difference between separating you from your value. Now, if you understand the problem, then your value is the impact of you solving that problem in your client's journey. The results you got for them, the question comes down to when you calculate the value is how long can they repeat these results in their lifetime, right? It's not just about one time. If I show you all the strategies on how to hit 5K, it's not a one-off thing. You'll be able to hit those 5Ks again and again and again. So how long can they repeat that? Intangible improvements, which are all about understanding what emotional impacts something. Is not about money, it's not about free time, it's not about number of clients they serve, but what are the emotional impact of the quality of life they will lead as a result of working with you. That all adds to the value itself, right? Their personal life getting better. Now, who else is benefiting in their life as a result of their personal life getting better, right? Is their kids, their family, their friends. And finally, it's the cost of them not hiring you. So if you comes down to understanding that what's the cost of them not hiring you, that actually defines the true value of your work. If you can actually help them demonstrate that by actually not having you on board is costing them X amount or anything tangible, like loss of relationship, loss of health, but that's direct consequence of them not taking your help, well, that defines your value. So in this model, what we have done is we have simply split you from your value. So you start to see these things as two separate things. And as long as you can articulate these two things separately in your marketing messages, you're doing nothing but increasing the value of your proposition in front of your audiences. Okay, hope that makes sense. So if you don't get that right, if you don't understand you or your value, the problems are you're going to end up selling stuff for cheap because you haven't really understood your core proposition. Okay. And because you're selling things for cheap, you're wasting a lot of time because you need continuous flow of people coming into your brand who can actually pay you, because you're going for too cheap. So you can't sustain any full-time incomes. So you're in continuous hunt. You're always looking for the next new thing or the next new client to come through and knocking on your doors, right? And as a consequence of that, you will regret. You will regret that why did you not charge the right amount when they could have easily afford to pay you? And you would be wishing that, whoa, I wish I would have made better decisions or got the right help at the right time, so I would not have made these mistakes. You know, guys, it's really easy to say that, oh, I'm learning from my mistakes. Yes, you are learning from your mistakes, but you can also learn from the mistakes of others who've gone through this journey before you. And as a consequence, you can shortcut that regret cycle. Yeah, you don't need to go through that regret phase. You can straight away take the right actions by valuing yourself correctly. So what you want instead of these problems, you want to earn full-time incomes. That's what your game should be. You need to be able to attract people to help you attain full-time incomes as fast as possible. If you do that, you will have more time on your hand and confidence to create the right products and services to attract more of the people you want to be serving. Trust me, you will feel a lot better about it yourself as well. And you will do more of what you actually love, right? So if you are into helping others, if your full-time income can support the act of helping others, you're likely to carry on doing more of what you're designed for or what your calling is. And that's exactly what we want. But in order to do that, you must be able to sustain yourself from a full-time income of your business. And that's what we are talking about here. So guys, a quick shout out to a client of mine called Mirel. She came to me through one of her friends recommended her to me. And very quickly, I was able to spot that she was using her self-esteem to drive the pricing. And she had a lot of fear and awkwardness around what to ask for and what not to ask for. And as a consequence of that, she will be doing great pitches, but when it comes to money, she will have fear to talk about money. So if she is not feeling great about herself, she will lower the pricing. If she will feel good about herself, she will increase the pricing. Well, the consequence of that was exactly she was regretting. She was always looking for next clients, and she was struggling to contain the full-time incomes. One of the goals we did for her was, I fixed her pricing straight away, designed the program, as well as we understood that we can't base her pricing based on her self-esteem. It needs to come from the value creation, not the volume stacking. So we designed a program that was all about helping her translate the outcomes she's helping other people achieve and how they start to value her. As a consequence of that, she hit her six-figure income in a matter of just having 5 clients on board. Now, she is an outsourced director as well in marketing, and all she needed was 5 clients, no more than that, to hit those full-time goal incomes, right? And well, this is much beyond full-time incomes. This takes her to a very niche category of people who hit the six-figure incomes. Now, that's just to give you an example. By fixing a mindset element with the pricing and the program, we were able to help her achieve that. As a consequence of that, I was able to spot the 3 core functions or principles that people need help with. The first one is to understand your self-esteem. Your program, the value of what you do is not connected with your self-esteem. Okay, the value of the program is connected with the how the other person is perceiving, how much of a big deal that the change is for the other person who's receiving your services, right? So there's 2 things I want you to understand. One, the pricing of your structure needs to come from, or your services need to come from, the value is creating for your ideal clients. And second, your self-esteem has got nothing to do with pricing whatsoever. However, your self-esteem is really important because that's what generates the confidence, because that's what puts you or gives you the courage to put yourself out there. So think of, there was a really interesting story I came across where you start to have an understanding that a baby, when the baby is born, the baby is not good to you or to anyone, right? Because the baby is only bringing a joy or a love factor. Other than that, it's hard work. Sleepless night, changing nappies, you name it, baby is hard work, right? So the understanding is the baby still has that value. That's why it gets looked after so much, despite the fact that they're not really adding any value to your life. You know, yeah, they're giving you love and joy, but that's easily far outweighed as compared to the amount of effort you need to do around the baby. So the point I'm making is, if the baby has value without adding anything to your life, then as an adult, you also have that value you're still carrying without even adding any value to your prospect clients, right? So separating the two, knowing that self-esteem of who you are, of what value you create, just by you being you, is enough for you to be at peace with yourself. When it comes to your prospects, they're not worried about your self-esteem or your internal demons. What they really care about is, can you give me what I'm looking for? And that comes down to the value you create through your services in their journey. And that's the self-esteem you should be looking at. The second concept was understanding the value. It's about understanding the outcome and understanding how that outcome translates in the amount of value it creates, how big of a value it creates in your ideal client's journey. Okay. And that directly connects with the model I showed you, understanding you and your value. That's exactly where it connects with. Once you start to understand the tangibles and the intangibles of the value that you're creating in your client's journey, of what you've actually transformed in their life and how much it means to them, everything changes. I have done this so many times when I actually sat and heard the stories of my ideal clients in different business models. We're all coming from different walks of life. You need to really understand at what value will that person will feel their skin is in the game. Okay. If a person is spending 4 grand on horses, gambling, then if my program is 4 grand worth, it means nothing to him because it will not really hurt him losing that much. He does that on daily basis, right? That's just an example, right? But knowing that where you place yourself in their stories, how you don't get caught up in their stories and stand out of it when it comes to your pricing, and still create a value of helping them see what you can you can help them achieve, whether it's saving, whether it's saving their relationship, saving money, making money, giving them that ultimate happiness of what value they're creating from the health. And as a consequence of having that great health, relationship, you name it, business, what will they're likely to achieve? What's the big thing for them they're going to achieve? What's the big desire? So putting those two together in your proposition creates value more than volume, right? And that's what you need to demonstrate when it comes to understanding pricing, create value. And finally, understanding that you also have an intrinsic value. An intrinsic value is a factor that at what amount of money you're likely to wake up from bed to go to work. So for example, if you're in your deep sleep and I shake you off and I tell you to get up, at what amount of money would you be happy to get up and say, right, yeah, I will get up in the middle of the night for that amount of money? That kind of defines our internal intrinsic value, where you are like, yeah, that is worth me breaking my sleep over. And those are the kind of concepts that help you, shift some of the way you've been thinking about pricing, some of the ways you've been thinking about yourself, and the value you create in others. And finally, guys, understanding that there are 3 levels. So grab yourself the workbook that goes with it and actually create these 3 levels. On level 1, I want you to put the minimum survival income that you need in order to survive. At level 2, I want you to put the best month ever income you ever had. And at level 3, I want you to define your dream monthly income that you will love to have. You see, when you start to define these 3 levels, level 1 and level 2, you are aware of. Level 3 is something that you aspire or you want to get to one day in your life. Yeah, that'll be amazing. That'll be a dream come true for you. Once you define these 3 levels, your mind is operating at a certain level that sees minimum survival, best month ever, and dream as 3 separate events. Okay. The way to break those paradigms, the way to break that mental barriers that you've been carrying is when your best month ever becomes your minimum survival income, your levels change. Hear me out again. When your best month ever becomes your minimum survival income, everything else changes. That's the way you will break the level 2 barrier that you've been sitting on for so long. Okay. And that's how dreams become reality. When you break those levels or those boundaries, that upper ceilings that you've got, you smash them through and you go on the other side is first by changing the standards you've been holding yourself against. Okay. Turn those best months ever into your minimum survival. You need that much to survive on, which was your best month ever. And then you start to take action from that front because you need to hit that level of incomes. You do that and your level 2 and level 3 will shift very, very quickly. Okay, guys. With this, I will conclude my today's thought on pricing your outcome. Understanding you is different from the value you're creating in your prospect's journey. Understanding your self-esteem has got nothing to do with your pricing, but you need your self-esteem so you can put your best foot forward in confidence. Okay. Also understanding that it's the value that you need to create, understanding the value of the outcome in the prospect journey, and your intrinsic value defines the pricing when it comes to working it all out. And we have got these amazing tools to figure out all these things, to break it even further down in our business accelerator program. So talk to us about that if you need to. And within that, we've got a pricing proposition calculator that works out exactly what value ladder you should be pitching your pricing, your programs at. Okay, guys. So there's a workbook that goes with it. If you haven't got that, please give us a shout and we'll make sure you get it. And that's it for now. Till next time, see you all.